and welcome to Starfield Wiki. I am Lucian Darkscythe. Today we're looking at all the weapon modifications and the engineering processes. To get the basics out of the way, weapon modifications are attached to your weapons at a workbench, excluding certain weapon types such as melee weapons and throwables like grenades, as per the current version of the game. This can allow players to, for example, draw weapons faster, have less recoil, attach scopes for better aim, change ammo type, or even perform more damage. It is highly recommended to get the maximum rank of the weapon engineering perk as soon as you can. It is one of the best perks that will maximize the potential of your arsenal. Once you have the perks, do use your resources at a research laboratory to learn how to craft the modifications first. You will only have to level up the research processes once per level to complete its research here, whereas crafting actual weapon parts at the weapons workbench will install the new part to the weapon and only on that weapon. Removing an attachment from the weapon will destroy that attachment for now, unlike Fallout 4 where it could be reused by other similar weapons. So do use your resources sparingly where necessary and make manual saves before costly upgrades. First and foremost, we have the barrel components. This front long tube part of the weapon. Longer barrels with the right caliber and propellant generate higher velocity, and that is why you see long-ranged weapons such as sniper rifles with much longer barrels than rifles used for shorter-ranged combat. In the game, we have many options for the various lengths of the barrel. We also have tech barrels for rifles such as Grendels, stabilizing barrels, fluted and heavy bull barrel for rifles such as hard targets, even somewhat sci-fi magnetic rails barrel component for weapons like magshots and other mag weapons. The primary effects these have in the game are that longer barrels generally provide better accuracy, range, and recoil control. However, just like in real life, longer barreled weapons take longer to lift and aim. The longer the barrel, the slower the aim down sight speed. So my recommendation is to keep all the rifle barrels as long as you can, as I recommend using other shorter ranged weapons such as handguns and shotguns for close ranged combats, as it's best to keep a different weapon type specializing for particular purpose and distance. Another word of advice from personal experience is to get the upgrade that increases the value of the weapons the most and has the highest leveled research requirements, as the game seems to hint players which modifications is the best for that weapon. The terminologies used can range from increases to greatly increases to vastly increases. We of course want to vastly increase the attributes we want that suits our playstyle. Next up, we have the laser components. We have options such as simple laser sights and recon laser sights. Along with improving accuracy, it helps with the target acquisition. It acts as the bullet path trajectory crosshair, as you have a visual guide as to where your bullet will land if you hip fire without aiming down sight in first-person mode, or even if you do aim in third-person mode. Recon sights, on the other hand, are fictional laser sights in the game that marks your enemies when you aim at them and highlights them so you can know where they are hiding for a clear tactical advantage. I recommend recon laser sights for all your weapons where possible. In terms of optics, we use this when aiming at enemies. We have various options such as standard iron sights, glow sights, reflex sights, and scopes of many magnifications. Whether to use sights or scopes depends on your playstyle and choice of weapon. Generally speaking, it's quicker to use sights than scopes because there is a fraction of a second delay when the in-game screen blacks out to look through the magnifying scope. Close-ranged weapons and weapons with shorter barrels such as handguns for quick draw and shotguns for quick target acquisition, point and shoot, or even fully automatic rifles for close to medium range spray and pray scenarios benefits from sights. I recommend the reflex sights, whereas scopes are better suited for long-ranged semi-automatic rifles that require longer distance shots with higher precision. The recon scope performs the same marking of enemies as the aforementioned recon lasers, whereas the different scope lengths, short, medium and long scopes provide 2x, 4x and 6.5x magnification zooms respectively, as can be seen here. For the scopes, I recommend the longest scope your rifle has available. The muzzle components are placed typically at the front of the weapons, just where the projectiles or lasers leave upon being fired. They can have various purposes with each component suitable for a specific playstyle. The compensator, for example, increases stability and hip-fire accuracy but at the cost of long-range accuracy. This is best suited for weapons like shotguns or fully automatic close to mid-range handguns and rifles, where long-distance precision shots are not necessary, but rather quick reflex reaction shots at the general direction of the crosshair. This works great against big enemy targets as well, as you can rely on rapid hip-fire without having to aim down sight at all times. Muzzle Brake does the opposite, where it increases longer range accuracy at the cost of hipfire accuracy. This is more suitable for semi-automatic precision weapons that require aiming down sight or through scopes. Large Muzzle Brake for weapons such as the Kraken increases the accuracy even further than the standard Muzzle Brake. Shotguns, when they're not firing massive slugs, fire many small pellets that has a wide spread. This results in decreased precision, especially for longer distance shots. The choke muzzle component reduces that spread, resulting in higher accuracy and slightly increased range. The muzzle component I use the most and is highly recommended is the suppressor. The primary purpose of this is to reduce the acoustic intensity of rounds fired, resulting in decreased chance of detection from enemies. This works perfectly with your stealth perks with the damage multipliers. The game also slightly increases the accuracy with the suppressors at the cost of some range. Equally, the stealth laser components for the electromagnetic laser weapons makes the lasers fired less visible and also quieter, decreasing your chance of getting detected during stealth missions. It is a highly recommended component. Moving on to other muzzle components for sci-fi energy and particle beam weapons, the focus lens component vastly boosts their accuracy. The focus nozzle, on the other hand, increases base damage, headshot damage, and also the range. The spread nozzle for particle beam weapons like the Rune Inflictor also has the same advantages, where it increases the damage and the range, even though the component description in the game does not mention this, but is reflected in the weapon stats. The main difference, however, is the spread nozzle causes the ammo to be split into multiple shots for it to be spread like a shotgun. This makes the weapon more suitable for close-range hipfire shots rather than long-distance scoped precision shots. Weapons such as mag shots, mag snipers, etc. also allow shock charge band component that electrically charges the ammo, resulting in extra shock damage to enemies upon impact. Next up are the grips and stocks components. The grips range from standard to ergonomic and tactical. The description of grips are self-explanatory and serves the purpose of providing better comfort and stability when holding the gun. As can be expected, a better grip will allow you to aim down the sight of your weapon faster or provide slight accuracy or reload speed increase because you have better hold of the weapon. I recommend tactical grip for your weapons as it has the most advantages. The stock is the rear of certain longer weapons that rests between the pocket of your shoulders and chest when aiming. The function is to also provide better stability when firing your weapons. I recommend tactical stock again, as the lighter build allows for faster aiming down sight. Magazine and battery components cover a lot of various parts that can affect your playstyle. The size of the magazines for physical bullets and batteries for lasers can determine how much ammo your magazine or battery can hold before reloading. The bigger sizes have more space for ammo, so can be useful to all weapons, and even more so for rapid-fire fully automatic weapons, as you will require reloading much less. The variations can include components such as small, standard, extended, large, extra large, drum magazines, etc. The bigger the magazine or battery, the more the weapon will weigh. The larger magazines and batteries also come with the disadvantages of reduced aiming down sight speed and reload speed. Tactical magazines and batteries provides the fastest aim down sight speed and reload speed, and weighs just a bit more than the small variations but less than the standard and large components, whilst providing the middle ground ammo capacity. And thus it is a highly recommended component if the other better components that I will mention below are not available for the weapon type. The drum magazine for physical bullets, even though it weighs the most and has slower aim down sight speed and reload speed, provides the most ammo capacity and is very useful for full auto, spray and pray weapons. Those were the capacities of ammo. Now we shall look at the different types of ammo. The armor-piercing rounds, when used against armored enemies, can ignore a big fraction of a lot of enemies' armors to deal a lot of raw damage. Depleted uranium rounds can penetrate any armor and also provides more range than the standard armor-piercing rounds. The penetrator rounds are useful when fighting groups of enemies in narrow space, where the rounds can penetrate through multiple enemies in the trajectory path of the bullet and reach the enemy behind them. I use this over the others due to the increase in base damage and the satisfaction when enemies line up for one bullet multi-kill shot. Similarly, Gutbuster rounds for weapons such as Krakens and Maelstroms fire ammo that, upon impact with an enemy, explodes out the back, in the form of shrapnel that deals damage to enemies behind them. The explosive rounds for weapons such as Drumbeats and AA-99s fire rounds that explode on contact. It deals area of effect damage so it can still perform the explosive damage on your enemies even if the bullet lands near them. I would not recommend this component with the semi-automatic variation, but rather with the fully automatic receiver of the weapons to release a flurry of rapid-fire explosive bullets. Best used with the reflex sights at close to medium range enemies and/or on bigger alien enemies with larger bodies. Do be careful as you can harm yourself too with its area of explosive impact. The White Hot rounds burns the targets upon impact for prolonged burn damage over time. The ignition beams for laser weapons such as Orions also performs burn damage over time. The EM charged shots for weapons such as pacifiers and coachments convert the ammo type into typically non-lethal electromagnetic charged ballistic rounds. They are best used to stun enemies. The electromagnetic beams for weapons such as Nova Lights and Equinox can also have the same effect of knocking out living creatures or disabling robots for a certain time period. Fléchette rounds, Hornet Nest and Slug shots for shotguns such as Coachman can alter your playstyle by a lot. The Fléchette rounds slice through enemies to make them take bleed damage over time. The Slug shots converts the bullet into a big single-shot slug ammo, resulting in increased range and accuracy. This is very suitable for medium-range battles instead of the usual close range with shotguns. The component I prefer to use and is the most fun is the Hornet Nest that converts your shots into explosive rounds that can churn through multiple enemies with each explosive ammo with its large area of impact range. Furthermore, Hornet Nest also increases the base damage the most. And lastly, another fun one to use are the Annihilator rounds, such as for the particle beam weapons that leave an area of effect diseased cloud where the bullet landed that can damage anyone close by for a period of time. Do be careful when using this next to other friendly or neutral NPCs. Moving on to the cover components, they are available only on certain weapons like the Equinox, where the game gives you the option to remove the cover plate of the weapon, exposing the internals, thus making the weapon weigh less, resulting in increased aiming speed due to the lighter build at the cost of some reduced accuracy. The amplifier component, normally on the internals of the other laser and particle beam weapons, can also be equipped here for increased power output and damage per shot of the weapon, which is also the component I would recommend. The internal components can range from hair trigger for slight increase in fire rate to high velocity, which allows the bullet to travel faster and further, which in turn is reflected in the game with the increase in range and accuracy. In real life, higher velocity would also result in higher force generated upon impact, resulting in increased damage output, but that isn't shown in the game. High-powered internal component is instead required for the increase in base damage. I would choose high-powered over others because the base increase in damage can scale with their other damage perk multipliers, resulting in very high damage per shot. You also have overclocked, precision tuning, and amplifiers, which does the exact same things as your above components for physical bullet weapons, but for the energy, laser, or particle beam weapons. As before, I would still recommend the amplifier for increasing base damage per shot, unless of course your playstyle prefers otherwise. The receiver components determines the way you will fire your bullets when you click the trigger button. We have semi-automatic, where you have to pull the trigger, i.e. click the trigger button, and it will fire just one shot per trigger pull. This is most suitable and works the best with high damage precision sniper weapons. Starfield balances the weapons by generally increasing the damage performed per shot of semi-automatic weapons and reduces the damage per shot for fully automatic weapons. The binary trigger option increases the fire rate by allowing you to fire a shot upon pressing off the trigger and as you let go of the trigger, thus firing 2 shots for every full click. The burst fire option is available on certain weapons where it rapid fires a select number of rounds automatically per each trigger pull. For example, 3 rounds per each trigger pull. The fully automatic receiver will continuously fire as long as you hold the trigger button until the magazine or battery runs dry and you have to reload again. The receiver type you use depends on your personal preference, traits, and use case. For example, a close-range rifle or pistol with the concussive trait where it has a small chance to knock down enemies, or the staggering trait which has the chance to stagger enemies, or lacerate, an elemental trait which applies bleed and elemental damage respectively, etc. With a reflex sight would most benefit with fully automatic receiver at close to medium range because it increases the chance of applying its trait's effects on the enemies significantly more than using slower semi-automatic weapons. Likewise, a fully automatic weapon with decreased damage per shot but increased fire rate doesn't benefit from a trait like instigating, which would do double damage to enemy at full health. A semi-automatic rifle receiver with increased base damage per precision shot, when paired with a long-distance scope and the perks to deal more headshot, scoped and silenced damage would be the most devastating combo. Furthermore, fully automatic rifles tend to be less precise depending on the recoil of the weapon per shot, and thus the faster fire rates are most suitable for close to medium range, fast aim down sight speed, and spray and pray scenarios, or on alien enemies with large bodies. So the receiver type is dependent on either accurate high damage precision shots versus low damage but rapid fire and faster trait and elemental damage application. The burst fire and the binary trigger for certain weapon types fall in between and allows for decent control and may also provide best of both scenarios, depending on the weapon type, its other components and the combination of traits for specific use cases against certain enemy types at particular distances. Full comprehensive guide on weapon traits will be coming very soon. For the skins, there are a few weapons with skin variants that you can get rewarded from certain questlines, or are available to purchase from specific merchants like Vincent in the Well. However, as per the current version of the game, there are only the old Mars and the Constellation skin for specific weapons and spacesuits available if you pre-ordered the game or purchased the premium edition of the game respectively. Bethesda will most definitely have updates and add-ons, or even more will be available through their Creation Club as paid content. That concludes this video. Do check out our other video, linked in the description, for the full combat perks guide, and look forward to our weapons traits in-depth video. I hope this video was useful. Let us know what you think down in the comments. With that being said, like and subscribe to Starfield Wiki, home for everything Starfield.